Čia yra Unreal 5 Realistic Graphic Showcase. Train Station Footage. Nežinau, kaip jums čia tos grafikos persikels iš tikro. Bet realiai... Čia Discordai, ką numetęs tą linką, kažkada čia buvau. Bet realiai... Labai realiai atrodo. Aš nesuprantu, kodėl random... Ai, ne, čia ne chromas, čia video. Aš jau galvoju, kad chromas kokybė vėl keitė. Čia video tos black pauzės padarė. Bet jo, gal tam tikrose vietose, jeigu tau pasako, žinai, kad čia yra netikras footage, tu gali pamatyti, okei, gal čia biški, gal ne visai, gal per švariai atrodo kai kuri vieta. Bet realiai, jeigu nieks nepasakytų, tiesiog tu mamai parodyčiau, niekad neatskirtų, kad čia nu, ne filmuotas telefonu. Nusiųsčiau, sakytų, kur čia buvai. Jo, neįtikėtinai ir realistiškai. Wow. Toje vietoje turbūt sakytų, pala, kas čia buvo? Jeigu toks, kaip čia kalbėjom, jeigu toks būtų VR geimas, aš gyvenime nežaišiu. Tiesiog per daug baisus. Aš tiesiog myšiu, jau, I can't do it, I just can't do it. Bet jeigu kokį, žinai, MMORPG sukurtų, dar kažką, aišku, žaišiu. Tokios, čia visiškai real life, I don't know, čia visiškai real life. Aišku, čia, kad tokį geimą sukurti, prireiks dar labai nemažai laiko prireiks, kol dar ir technika turės daug pagerėti ir viskas. Nes čia, aišku, pre-rendered ir, nu, bet, my god, kaip tikroviškai viskas. Ir jau technologija ten to Unreal Engine jau pasikeitus normaliai, kad galėtų kompą neapkraunant netgi tam tikrus dalykus padaryti labai realistiškai. Yeah. Damn. Gerai, dabar aš noriu realiai pažiūrėti kažkokį random video radau nuo, kiek čia, 30 paskui metų, nuo 95 iki 2023, Evolution of Unreal Engine. Tai galvoju, gal bus visai įdomu pažiūrėti. Čia sekmanį, kadangi toks visai random streamas yra, tai aš galiu žiūrėti belen kokias nesąmonės. Ai, nu, okei. Tai pohui, to ir tada 8 bus. Nu čia dar yra laiko, gerai, žiūrim.
Engine is a game engine responsible for some of the greatest games ever created. On April 5th, 2022, Unreal Engine 5 was released. An absolute game changer. The engine allows for some of the most impressive and mind-blowing graphics you'll ever see. So, let's see how Epic evolved Unreal Engine to the stunning graphics we see in games today. This is the evolution of Unreal Engine. Let's go back to 1991 when computers like this were revolutionary. At the time, Tim Sweeney, the founder of Epic Games, started creating editing tools for his first games. It all started with an action-adventure puzzle game with very simple graphics called ZZT. In the game, players had to battle various creatures and solve puzzles. The game wasn't considered revolutionary. However, the approach to programming would lay the foundations for some of the most breathtaking graphics that we see in games today. In the 90s, the gaming industry was filled with potential, but the biggest games were made by a handful of people and built from the ground up through a rigorous process. However, Sweeney's implementation of the object-oriented language in ZZT and another game called Jill of the Jungle changed all of that. He knew the importance of the game engine, which allowed significant user modification.
Buvo Unrealas dar geimas iš tikro.
But more importantly, this approach made a conceptual framework for the Unreal Engine, which would revolutionize the gaming industry. Fun fact, Tim Sweeney decided to create the text editor after disliking the programming languages he tried on his PC. During the day, he would study,
Unreal
while at night, he would work on his
Unrealas,
game. In
taip
total,
vadindavom
the
ir tiek.
ZZT game took 9 months to develop and took around 1,000 hours to complete. In 1995, Tim began working on the first generation of Unreal Engine. The engine was used to develop a first-person shooter known as Unreal. Surprisingly, at first, the engine relied on software rendering solely with the...
Jo, turėjo tą ginklą, kur šauni burblą ir tada gali šauti... Šautą burblą ir sprogdavo.
Over time, the engine also took advantage of dedicated graphics cards, which allowed for more advanced games and graphics. In 1998, the Unreal game was developed. It became one of the first games to utilize detail.
Jis ir vadinosi Unreal, paskui man atrodo buvo Unreal Tournamentą naujesnė versija.
The more detail will appear. Other features
Šitą aš kažin žaidžiau, aš tą naujesnę man atrodo
colored
žaidžiau.
lighting, and an integrated level editor. These features made Unreal one of the best-looking shooters of its time. The game became a massive success, with over 1.5 million copies sold. GameSpot praised the game for utilizing 16-bit color, and added that the Unreal Engine has raised the bar on what action gamers expect from future products.
True.
Visual effects first seen in the game will become expected from future games. Epic released their second game in 1999 called Unreal Tournament. It was first released for PC, later ported to the PlayStation 2 and Dreamcast. While the previous game was a huge success,
aš nežinau, kurį aš žaidžiau, bet aš mažai žaidžiau.
For example, gamers complained about the high system requirements to be able to play the game, and there were online gameplay issues. That's why developers enhanced the Unreal Engine to optimize performance on...
Jo, tipo, vat kas su to Unreal Engine ir apskritai tais engine šiaip, bet ypač su Unreal'u. Va, pavyzdžiui, kiek jie laiko turėjo ir, realiai 30 metų čia developinimas vyksta. Gerai, va, pavyzdžiui, susiduria su problema. Vat LANas, per LANą žaidį, per internetą žaidį ir problema yra. Ok, mes padarysim, kad tam engine būtų optimizuota belenkaip ir tada kiti geimai ir galų galia tas geimas bus gerai. Dar kai žaidimų kompanijos dirba, jos realiai direct komunikaciją su tais engine'ais turi ir pasako, gerai, mums reikia, kad engine'as galėtų supportinti tenais kažkokį palaikymą su tam tikrais device'ais. Ir Game Engine'o dirba, padaro pluginą ar ten feature ar whatever, kad tas Game Engine'as palaikytų tą, ką reikia game developeriams. Ir galų gale dabar, kur aš čia žiūrėjau atskirą video, čia nežinau, ar bus apie tai, kur būdavo problema su medžiais, pavyzdžiui, kiek galima medžių nupiešti ir ten, kad nelagintų, žinai, nes 10 medžių nupieši, visi lapai, žiūrėk, jų lagint pradeda. Tai ką jie darė, žinai, su laiku einant, jeigu tu esi arti, užrenderina normaliai medžius, jeigu bišk toliau, ten užrenderina tik vieną low quality tekstūrą tipo, ir šitaip žaidžia draw distance, žinai, visos tos features dadeda, kad ir grafikos tobulėtų, ir ten algoritmus vis tobulina. Tai dabar tam naujam Unreal Engine, kiek suprantu, apskritai tokios jau sistemos padarytos, kad tu realiai gali, kad ir 1000 medžių ten piešti vienu metu, visus high quality, nesvarbu net atstumų kokiu būtų, ir netgi resursų kompė labai ten neapkrauna tipo. Antiek optimizavo, sugalvojo naujus ten visiškai, ir aišku, dar ten dar veikia, taigi pačios tos video kortos dabar jau irgi kūrė tas kortas su absurdiškom technologijom, kad galėtų tokius dalykus daryti. Čia šitos technologijos visos, ant kiek evoliucionavo, yra visiškai incredible. Ir ko žmonės, žinoma, vėlgi, nieks nesupras, nieks nežino, niekam neįdomu, nes taigi čia tiesiog tikėjimas, ne mokslas.
Low-end machines and multiplayer features were improved. That's not all.
Tos features improvina ir improvina.
Allowing for 24-bit high-quality textures that didn't affect performance. Unreal Tournament had a budget of $2 million and took a year and a half to complete. The development team consisted of around 16 people, and together they wrote 350,000 lines of C++ and Unreal script. All the efforts of developers paid off, as Unreal Tournament is often considered one of the best video games ever made. Eurogamer said in a review, quote, "The graphics are a match for anything else on the market, and the game doesn't need a supercomputer to run it." On Metacritic, the game received a very impressive score of 92, and over 2 million copies were sold. Now that Epic showed the world the capabilities of their powerful engine, it was time for other game developers to use the engine. Epic began licensing their engine, which led to many games being released that used Unreal Engine, including Deus Ex. Harry Potter and the
Pirma dalis Deus Exo buvo visiškai neįtikėtina, godam, labai geras
game
geimas.
engines such as id Software only gave developers the source code, Epic also offered developers support and discussed with them what improvements could be made.
Tai grafikos amazing.
Tim Sweeney said, quote, "The big goal with the Unreal technology all along was to build up a base of code that could be extended and improved through many generations of games." Fun fact, Sweeney wrote 90% of the code himself for the first generation of Unreal Engine. It was his favorite project at Epic, and he said that writing the first Unreal Engine was a 3.5-year, breadth-first tour of hundreds of unique topics and software and was incredibly enlightening. The second version of Unreal
What a
Engine
guy!
in 2002 with America's Army, a free multiplayer shooter. The U.S. Army and the gaming industry worked together.
Ai, čia propaganda, kad skatintų užsirašymus.
Educate, and recruit prospective soldiers. Interestingly, it was also the first time the U.S. Army used large-scale use of game technology for recruitment. Philip Besant, the executive producer of the project, said, "America's Army looked nothing like the other games. It had high-quality graphics, animation, and sound, even though the game was free to players. I think everyone expected it to be junk. They were all surprised. It even won multiple awards."
Turbūt čia jau rėmė teksto, mokesčių pinigai turbūt rėmė, todėl ir nemokamas ir turbūt turėjo biudžetą normalų jau.
Epic released Unreal Championship. It was one of the first games to utilize Microsoft's Xbox Live. Multiple improvements were made to the gaming engine, which allowed for new features. GameZilla noticed that
koks blogas Seimas
was put into the AI, with enemies doing more than just the given stand and fire. Often you'll see them working as a team or running when outgunned. While about 20 games were developed that used the first version of Unreal Engine, about 4 times as many games were released using Unreal Engine 2. To name a few, there was Spider-Man 2, Star Wars,
tos 90-ųjų grafikos dar vis tiek, gal ne 90-ųjų, 2000-ųjų ten jau.
Epic's plan was to shift its strategic focus to include support for the PlayStation 2.
Jo, pirmas, antras PlayStation tuo metu, kada čia buvo?
This led to more developers being interested in using Unreal Engine, which resulted in quick growth in the popularity of the game engine. Unreal Engine 2 was based on its predecessor but had many significant improvements. It was capable of running levels nearly 100 times more detailed than its predecessor. New features were also added, including a cinematic editing tool, particle systems, and a skeletal animation system. With Unreal Tournament 2004, developers successfully implemented vehicle-based gameplay for the first time. However, these were considered hastily constructed vehicles, and it wasn't until American video game developer Psyonix modified the base code that the game received fully coded vehicles. Epic was impressed by their efforts and even decided to hire them. Later in 2015, Psyonix would develop the hugely popular game Rocket League that was developed with Unreal Engine 3, and Epic decided to acquire the company in 2019. Fun fact, Unreal Engine isn't just used for games, but also for movies and series, including Westworld.
No choice you ever made was your own.
War of the Planet
Westworld.
Leaps together.
Bitcoinas, kažin ar mirus taip.
Ferrari.
Jeigu viskas mirs, Bitcoinas, kažin ar mirus.
And The Mandalorian.
Jo, tipo tai, kad Unrealas jau... Iš tikrųjų, tai, kad tas engine'as turi tiek galimybių ir tiek visko, kad netgi filmuose, inkomponuoja, va, tad parodo, kiek... Ir žiūrėjau, jo pagalvojus, kiek daug sistemų galima paimprovinti ten. Tarsim, žaidimų tie kūrėjai susiduria su problema, kad, ten, kaip mums tuos personažus, kur žinai, ir visi realiai tą patį kūrė, skeletas ir tada ant jo uždėta tekstūra, tipo, žmogus ar kažką. Bet tas pats sistema pati to skeleto, jos, kad tik Unreal Engine'as gali padaryti ir gali optimizuoti, ir tada žaidimų kūrėjai daug lengviau jau automatiškai yra kur, tipo, kiek galima ir palengvinti darbą ir panašiai, ir kai pastoviai developini tą, o ne tiesiog padarai varikliuką ir darykit, o pastoviai developini atsižvelgi, ko reikia, ten supaprastinti darbą ir panašiai. Fascinating.
Unreal Engine allows filmmakers to use a new technology of LED video walls instead of using green screens. This does not only allow actors to see the virtual environments in real time, but it also enables more realistic lighting, so scenes can be captured in a single pass.
Wow.
In November 2006, Unreal Engine 3 was released. The first games to use the engine were Robo Blitz and Gears of War. Originally, Epic made a concept of Gears of War that would be closer to the multiplayer-driven Unreal series. However, as the industry shifted towards single-player games, Epic decided to change the aim of the game and released what is considered one of the greatest games ever made. On Metacritic, the game received a very impressive score of 94.
Abejoju, ir Gears of War ten
For its concept visuals,
buvo vienas geriausių ever made. Maybe.
IGN called it the most gorgeous-looking game on the Xbox 360. Unreal Engine 3 allowed for advancement in graphics, which helped the success of Gears of War. The engine was based on the first generation, but added multiple new features.
Ar per savo bitcoiną pirksai?
A sound system, and tools which were dramatically more powerful. A significant change compared to Unreal Engine 2 was that calculations were done per pixel instead of per vertex. This allowed for much better graphics. Rendering was also improved and provided support for high dynamic range rendering.
Biškai pakilęs toks dabar. Metų high praktiškai.
Initially, Unreal Engine 3 only supported Windows, Xbox 360, and the PlayStation 3. In 2010, iOS and Android were also added. The first iOS title was Infinity Blade. And the first Android title was Dungeon Defenders.
What the fuck? Žinot tokį game'ą? Amazing graphics.
Throughout the years, developers kept updating the engine with new features, including improved destructible environments, large crowd simulations, stereoscopic 3D, and soft body dynamics. The popularity of
jo, taigi, blėt, aš vis pamirštu, kad tik apie tos features kalbant. Anksčiau, tipo, kuri žaidimą ir bačka, žinai, nu tu jos nieko negali daryti, tiesiog tai yra grafikos dalis, žinai. Tada tobulėjant, kiekviena bačka yra entity, kuri užprogramuoja, kad, elgtus pagal fiziką. Gerai, bet tai dahoja darbo. Arba tada tiesiog dabar Unreal, varikliukas. Viską taip padaro, kad gerai, jeigu tu kuri tokį objektą, aplaini tenais barrel fiziką ir veiks kaip barrelis. Nes varikliukas jau pasirūpina, tipo, tom fizikom, kaip ten suskyla ir panašiai, tarkim. Ir dabar mačiau, kad tas naujausias engine'as ten liquidus, pavyzdžiui, ten plaukus personažo, ant kiek patobulinę, kad, jau pati sistema vietoj, kad, daug lengviau tokio standarto geimus kurt. Vandenį, ten tas fizikas, kaip, aišku, visą laiką dirba ties apšvietimu, kaip saulė dabar, kaip tai yra šviesos šaltinį dabar ant tiek simuliuoja, kad tenais atsispindint pro butelius, pro paviršius, realistiškai, kad, visiškai fotorealistiškai, kur ten net nustebtum, ant kiek detaliai, kaip čia, atkartoja fizikas mūsų. Ir yra dar su vandeniu, man atrodo, irgi su vandens fizikom, ten buteliai, pavyzdžiui, jo objektas butelis, ir jeigu ten yra vanduo, tipo, ten, jeigu paėmė ir įvartai, tipo, kaip elgiasi likvidas viduj, kas būna, jeigu jis, ten prašauna ar whatever. Tokius atrodo paprastus dalykus, bet engine'as pasirūpina tuo, žaidimo kūrėjai tiesiog vos ne apply mygtuką, gal biškai daugiau, žinai, reikia, bet, kiek daug dalykų supaprastina. Ir žinau, kad Unreal dar engine, tam penktam, daug lengviau editinti pasaulius, tipo. Kas aš viliuosi MMO žanro, to open world tokių gėjimų gal bus lengviau biški kurt, gal čia nieko neišlos, kad lengviau būtų, tiesiog tas ant to gražesni gėjimai, bet ir tiek pat darbo, bet tipo, gražesniem gėjimam tiek pat darbo. Nes ten jo tie mapo editoriai, kur rodė, koks funkcionalumas, ten vos nerealių laikų tiesiog kalną pakeli, nuleidi, viskas detaliai ir ten jo, žodžiu, pretty interesting. Aš tikiuosi, kad čia daug parodės to naujo engine'o, nes dar daug laiko liko čia.
Activision, Capcom, Disney, Ubisoft, Electronic Arts, and more.
Nes jau tas ir Unreal Engine'as, tas naujas jau iš tikrųjų jau keletą metų jau matau, kaip, jis jau ilgą laiką irgi išėjęs.
Many major gaming outlets loved this game, including IGN, which
Tai gal jau ne visai užilgo ir matysim pirmus actually games su to engine, aš nežinau, ar jis dar neišėjęs public, I'm not sure.
Was released as a science fiction action RPG.
Nes mačiau jau video YouTube'ai, kur palygina tai jau ilgą laiką, tai tikrai dirbo su juo ilgas.
Successful. In 2009 came Batman: Arkham Asylum, which took approximately 21 months to complete. Developers really pushed the limits and created one of the greatest games of all time.
Šitas geimas girdėjau, kad labai gerų atsiliepimų buvo.
To detail. For example, one developer spent 2 years programming Batman's cape, using over 700 animations to make it move realistically.
Awful.
The game even won the Guinness World Record for most critically acclaimed superhero game ever. This was based on a score of 91 on Metacritic. And many more games followed.
Išsivys ir aš 2 metus dirbau ties Batmano keipu.
Connect Adventures.
Time well spent.
Gears of War 3. Dishonored. BioShock Infinite.
Dagger.
Mortal Kombat X. Rocket League.
Kaip vardina game, sako, engine rodykit, ačiū.
And many, many more. It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, though. Video game developer Silicon Knights sued Epic Games over Unreal Engine 3. They stated that Epic Games failed to provide a working engine and even alleged that Epic Games was sabotaging Unreal Engine 3 licensees. Eventually, won the lawsuit and countersued $4.5 million on the grounds of copyright infringement, misappropriation of trade secrets, and breach of contract, which they also won. Following the case, Silicon Knights filed for bankruptcy on May 16, 2014. Fun fact.
Diablo 4 jo buvo irgi dabar kur kūrė, tai 5.2 Unreal Engine, Redfall. Ne, blet. Ar ne, ne, čia ne ta. Bet man atrodo, Diablo 4 naudoja savo Blizzardo in-game in-house kažkokią engine, ne Unreal Engine, aš binginu rasti. Nes jis techniškai biškai panašus į mobile, tą Immortal versiją. Išvaizdos, nesvarbu. Bet jo jie ne Unreal'ą naudoja, atrodo.
It has also been used to explore new designs for automobiles and buildings. Researchers have also used the engine to explore pharmaceutical drug molecules. On March 19, 2014, Unreal Engine 4 was released. Development started 11 years prior. At the start, there was just one guy working on it. Any guesses who that could be? Tim Sweeney, of course.
What a chad!
New features of
Unreal
Engine 4 was the real-time global illumination using voxel
Starfield planavo su Unreal? Okay.
More realistic lighting to 3D
Laukiu to visai game irgi. Gal bus įdomu visai.
And designers could also develop features using the Blueprints
Falloutas plus
system. This allowed them to create interactive elements in their worlds without using code. Before, a programmer would be needed, but now anybody could do it with the right assets. In September 2014, Epic released Unreal Engine 4 to schools and universities for free, including personal copies for students. In 2015, Epic launched Unreal Dev Grants, a $5 million development fund aiming to provide grants to creative projects using Unreal Engine 4. Epic stated that the goal of Unreal Dev Grants has always been simple: to empower talented artists, designers, and programmers to build upon their outstanding work in and around Unreal Engine 4 while alleviating Unreal Engine 4 removed Unreal Script that had been used in the previous generations. The reason for it was the list of things that needed to be added was getting bigger and bigger. Tim Sweeney said during a meeting, quote, "You know, everything you're proposing to add to Unreal Script is already in C++. Why don't we just kill Unreal Script and move to pure C++? You know, maximum performance and maximum debuggability. It gives us all these advantages." Unreal Engine 4 was released with a new licensing model. For just $19 a month, developers were given access to the full version of the engine. However, any released product was also charged with a 5% royalty of gross revenues. In 2020, Epic announced they would only charge the royalty fee for games that generate at least $1 million in lifetime gross revenues. The first game that was developed with Unreal Engine 4 was Daylight in April 2014. Well, you might expect something epic as it was the first game using the engine, but there was nothing epic about this game except the royalties they had to pay to Epic Games. PC Games said in their review, quote, Daylight is the first ever game using Unreal Engine 4, but with its cheap, boring gameplay and muddy textures, it was not a good advertorial for Epic's tech. Luckily, more games quickly followed that were developed with the game engine, including Street Fighter V, Gears of War 4,
Patobulėjo grafikos biškai.
The Outer Worlds, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Days Gone, Gears 5, Five Nights at Freddy's, Help Wanted, and countless other titles. Unreal Engine 4 even surpassed the number of games developed compared to Unreal Engine 3. In total, more than 400 games have been developed with Unreal Engine 4. The growing popularity of the engine was partly due to the support for many platforms. To name a few, it supports Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, the next generation Xbox Series
Nu ir davai Unreal 5 dabar jau
and
engine.
PlayStation 5. In 2017, a new genre of games really took off. Any guesses? I'm, of course, talking about
Battle
the
Royales.
Royale genre.
Žiūrim apie Unreal Engine evoliuciją.
Battlegrounds was released, which was completely built using Unreal Engine 4, with a total player count of an
Ir kiek jie problemų turėjo iš tikro, nes nebuvo tas engine'as tam techniškai pritaikytas ir kiek turėjo ten paskui optimizuoti viską, my goodness.
astonishing 1.2 billion
Bet,
players as of March 2021. It is the
koks
most played
fenomenas
video
buvo.
game of all time.
Koks fenomenas geimas. Dieve, koks linksmas geimas buvo. Iš tikrųjų, jeigu reiktų sakyti, turbūt nesu gyvenime žaidęs labiau fun multiplayer game. Jis tiesiog buvo fun. Jis incredibly fun buvo. Ir neveikia viskas, nahui. Viskas neveikia. Viskas buvo buginta, pizdėts. PUBG. Bet ant kiek linksmo buvo jį žaist. Ant kiek buvo fun žaist. Ir I don't know. Man atrodo, jokio kito multiplayer game'us, ar su kitais žmonėm, ar panašiai, tipo, nesužaidęs gyvenime. Tik vat labai gaila, kad galų gale problemų tiek buvo iš techninių pusių ir panašiai, ten ir developeriai ne pats geriausi, tipo, nu ten daug jo. Bet pats game'as, Erangelis dar būtent kažkaip, I don't know, tiesiog, nu nahui koks linksmas buvo. Kiek momentų tam game'e buvo? O dieve mano. Ir jį net žiūrėti, man iki dabar kartais smagu, tipo, įsijungti ten kokį vieną mačą pažiūrėti, bet dabar girdėjau, kad cheaterių dahuja ten, nu, problemos toliau yra, bet jo, aš prisimenu, ne veltui jisai buvo tiek ten milijonų tų žaidėjų rinkdavo ten, nes jo, žaidimas žiauriai linksma, tiesiog linksma. Ir kiek visą žanrą sukūrė, prikėlė, tipo, nu, kaip ir definino ir ten kiek kopijų paskui ėjo ir panašiai, bet nieks taip nepadarė gerai, tipo, netyčia, nes lesbionės, čia netyčia buvo. Jo, būdavo, rage quitų būdavo, o dieve mano. Jo, ir ten mes turėdavom su viena grupė ten, kur ir mes, čia buvo... Kaip tas panos, blėt, vardas? Bogelelė buvo, ten su jie rėdavomės, ten paskui competitive, kai žaisdavom turnyrę, ten kokiam su kitais žmonėm, tipo, paskui su draugeliais, kur leisdavomės ten, kur mes kažkuriam ten tam viršų ir dešiniai pusė ten į tą zoną rangelį leisdavomės, kur ten tiesiog prikolindavom ir nes kitur nesugebėdavom leistis, nes neatsišaudom prieš nieką. Ten ghostindavo, oh my god, nes dar iki dabar kiek klipų yra iš to geimo. Počinki, jo, dainuodam tą, blėt, jo su to mašinom, kur sproginėja, apsiverčia. Eik tu, na, kas ten darydavo su to geimu. Ir aš prisimenu, kai tas geimas ten išėjo ir mes su Laurinu NBS-u, tipo, kalbėjom, blėt, šitas geimas būtų neįtikėtinai geras, competitive, tipo, ant parašiutų ten logo galėtų uždėti, žinai, komandų. Bet kaip būtų neįtikėtina pamatyti gerą competitive PUBG, žinai, game. Nu, turnyrą, tipo, kaip tai veiktų, kaip žmonės, nu, evoliucionuotų žaidimas ir tada mes pamatėm realiai. Nes labai greitai ir prasidėjo tą sporto sceną kurtis, nes, visi tą norėjo pamatyti, jinai buvo ten bočinta biškai tikrai, bet still, gan fun. Jin labai unikalų gameplay tipą tokį turi, gan fun. Anyway, gerai, sorry. Dar žiūrim tą video, nes jau toj podcastas bus.
Shortly after the release of PUBG,
jo, ten PUBG patrolin galėdavo savus irgi belenkiek.
Unlike PUBG, Fortnite was free to play from the start, and in the game, up to 100 players competed to be the last person standing. Just like PUBG, the game was also made using Unreal Engine 4 and was developed by none other than Epic Games. Fortnite became an overwhelming success, drawing more than 125 million players in less than a year. At the end of 2019, Fortnite generated a massive $9 billion in gross revenue.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Fun fact. In September 2014, Epic opened the Unreal Engine Marketplace, which is a digital storefront that allows content creators and developers to download and purchase models, assets, sounds, code snippets, environments, and other features. In 2018, developers started working on the next Unreal Engine, which is an absolute game changer. It brings some of the best video game graphics you'll ever see. 4 years later, on April 5th, 2022, Unreal Engine 5 was officially launched.
Tai prieš metus officially. Va, čia tie video, kur kurti pasaulį, čia buvo neįtikėtina, tipo.
Spend excessive time on creating new, detailed assets. Unreal Engine 5 adds several new major features. One of those features is Nanite. And it allows for detailed photographic source material to be imported into games.
Nanite achieves detail down to the pixel, which means triangles are often the size of pixels. This amount of geometric detail requires shadows to be pixel accurate as well, and Nanite can do that too.
What makes it even more impressive is that Nanite automatically handles the level of detail of objects appropriate to the target platform and draw distance. This saves artists a massive amount of work, since this had to be done by themselves otherwise. To significantly improve the lighting, Lumen was created.
Jo, čia tos sistemos, kur sakiau, švietimas, detalės, patobulina tiek, kad kuriem net nereikia galvoti apie tai.
Dynamic lighting and allows light to bounce off of other objects to create more realistic and beautiful scenes. Overall, Unreal Engine 5 allows for an unprecedented level of detail with an impressive draw distance. The engine supports the next-generation PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. The engine takes advantage of the high-speed storage solutions of these consoles. To improve the engine even further, Epic and Sony had been working closely together to optimize Unreal Engine 5
optimizacijos tada,
In May 2020, a real-time demo was revealed of Unreal Engine 5.
Tipo, let's be honest, jeigu kažkada išeitų RuneScape game'as ant Unreal Engine su pilnu 3D pasauliu, tai būtų populiariausias RPG fucking game'as planetoje. There's no fucking shot.
Running stunning graphics on the PlayStation 5. Another demo for the next-generation consoles was released at the end of Matrix Awakens, an Unreal 5 experience, is a boundary-pushing technical demo. It has a dense, open-world city environment made out of billions of polygons, resulting in some of the most impressive graphics I've ever seen. Fortnite was the first game that used the Unreal Engine. It was used as a test platform to showcase what the engine can do for the gaming industry. Multiple games are currently in the making that have yet to be released using the engine, including Ark 2.
Kokie RPG game'ai išeis nauji ant Unreal 5 įdomu. Oh man. Oh man. Kažkokia reklamuoja.
Part of Chernobyl. And Black Myth: Wukong.
Ashes of Creation, man atrodo, taip, aš tą turiu omeny, kur ten reklamavo visi.
Honestly, it's just mind-blowing how far Unreal Engine has come in terms of realism in games. Fun fact, Unreal Engine has won numerous awards, including a Guinness World Record for the most successful video game engine. It's truly unbelievable how much Unreal Engine has progressed in the last 24 years. And I can't wait to see how this technology will continue to move forward in the future. I truly hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave
Unreal Engine 5 water physics? Water bottle gal kaip ten buvo? Liquid tipo 1 year ago čia. Nepamenu kokią aš ten video žiūrėjau. Bet tipo ten tiesiog jo fizikas sukūrė. Ja, aš net tą žiūrėjau. Lumen, ne Lumin. Iš tikro pohui randa ir taip ar taip. Lightningo sistemos.
Illumination in reflections in light around.
Kurelį, jeigu kažkada reikėjo programuoti, kaip veikia visas tas tavo lightningas, engine tiesiog padedi light source ir viskas kitkas pasirūpina. Visus apdirba iš karto langus, stiklus, viską, tipo, kas realiai ir palengvina labai ir taip fotorealistiškai padaro, nes, tipo, man tokiam, kuris nepatyręs, neprofesionalas, pamatai kambarį, okei, atrodo gan gerai, bet netrodo realistiškai. Bet realiai, jeigu tu nori realistiškai padaryti, apšvietimas didžiąją dalį tų dalykų padaro. Kad tipo atrodytų pretty good iki, čia labai realistiška, tai yra didelė dalim ir apšvietimas. Nes ten tas technologijas išradinėja jau metai iš metų tobulina, kur atrodo jau neblogai atrodo ir jau gerai, bet tada pasako gerai, bet ne. Jeigu čia yra kambarys, tada čia yra biškiuka, įėjimas gal, ar biškiuka už sienos, nerealistiškai. Ir tai žmogui pasiunčia signalą, kad čia nėra realistiškai labai. Atrodo neblogai, bet nerealistiškai. Ir jie tobulina, kad dabar jau ten taip simuliuoja tą apšvietimą, kad realiai žiūri ir tu jau tikrai galvotum, kad čia fotorealistik, tik tekstūrų reikia ir viskas. Pretty fascinating, nes ten jo čia kur apskaičiuoja tipo reflectionus, nes šviesa atsispindi ne vieną kartą nuo objekto, o keletą kartų tipo. Ir tada, ką tu matai, pavyzdžiui, šičia realiai gerai pademonstruoja, jeigu šviesos objektas čia, o kamera šičia. Ką jinai matys ant šito? Turi būti atspindys raudono kvadrato to. Ir tokie smulkmenos, neįtikėtinos smulkmenos, kur antiek optimizuoja, kad paskui čia turbūt ir geltono atsispindi tam tikrais kampais, kur ir sukuria tą paskui vaizdą, kad atrodo, čia žiauriai realistiškai atrodo. Bet lightningas, tas apšvietimas yra žiauriai important tam efektui pasiekti. Kur čia tas kambarys buvo? Čia ne tas, man atrodo, video, bet realiai kažkoks ten kitas buvo, kur daug geriau iliustruoja tuos apšvietimo visus dalykus, su ten kažkokiu virtualiu kambariu, ten kaip nuo stiklinių atsispindi, nuo veidrodžių, nuo visų paviršių, žodžiu, pretty fascinating technologija yra gerai.